Christians like to claim that Jesus' guidance is the best guidance from every religion on the face of the planet. One important aspect of society isn't just the relationship between boss and worker, teacher and student, but most importantly, it is the husband and the wife. Now, according to the guidance of Jesus as they claim it, is this the best way a relationship should be? I've got a question for Christians, if you could answer the question about how a wife should be with her husband. Alright, guys, so this is the passage that I am focusing on, which is in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 21 to the end. So we'll start from verse 21. So, verse 21, it says, "Be subject to one another out of reverence for Christ." So basically what this is saying is that the church should serve each other because of their love for Christ. In verse 22, it says, "Wives, be subject to your husbands as you are to the Lord." Right? So in the same way that wives are obedient to their husbands in that they obey everything that that Jesus says, they should do the same to their husbands. Because it says to be subject to your husbands as you are to the Lord. And this has been practiced for centuries, this application. Now, when we carry on, for the husband is the head of the wife, just as Christ is the head of the church. So the way that Christ is the head of the church is that the church obeys Christ, right? And that's how Christ is the head of the church. And the husband is the head of the wife in the same way that Christ is the head of the church, which is that Christ is to be obeyed, right? So for the husband is the head of the, so this is why the wife should obey the husband, right? This is a reason. Paul is saying, just as Christ is the head of the church, husbands are the head of the wives, which leads to the belief that wives should obey their husbands in everything as the church obeys Christ in everything. Now, if I'm wrong, if I'm totally wrong, please correct me in the comment section. Um, so yeah, verse 24, just as the church is subject to Christ, so also wives ought to be in everything to their husbands. So the key word here, in everything, in everything. So also wives ought to be in everything to their husbands. So if the husband orders the wife to do something which is legal and which is permissible, then she should obey him because the church obeys Christ. And in that same way, the church obeys Christ, which is that they listen to everything Jesus says and does it. Then wives should also be in all to their husbands, just like that in application, which is obeying the husband in everything that they say. Right. Now the passage carries on, but for husbands and how they should be with their wives, which is that they should be to their wives as Jesus was to the church, in that he sacrificed himself for the sins of the church and for everyone. But obviously the church accepted it, and then that's why they're going to heaven, and then they're saved. Right. In the same way, the husbands should be like that to the wives, right? Which is which shows that the analogy should be applied. It's like the same analogy of how Christ is with the church. So if Christians say that, okay, well, husbands, they should be saving their wives and helping their wives and protecting their wives, just as Christ did with the church, then it should be fair that with this reasoning, that wives should also be in everything in subjection to their husbands, right? So this is my claim, and I want you guys to answer in the comments. So if a mother of a wife wants the wife to visit her home and the husband says no, then she should obey him because he is the head of the wife, just as Christ is the head of the church, right? And obviously, since the church obeys Christ in everything, even if they don't like it, the women would also obey the husband in everything they don't like but is legal, right? So this is my question to you guys, is that do you guys actually believe it that women should obey their husbands in everything that is legal, that is fine, even if you don't like it, right? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.